This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Welcome on into your First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason here at KSLA News 12. Hopefully you're having a great Tuesday. I am a hype man today. Hype man for summer. That's what we're all about here. In for the Architects for your weather. We knew we were expecting it. For those of you who tuned in yesterday to our Weather Breakdown podcast, but guess what? Now, today is the day. It has arrived. So, I didn't use this morning, but in future mornings, I got to tell people to hydrate. All the typical cool yourself down kind of things. Please do that today. Please do that today. It's not going to come to a shock to anybody. No, but I think this is the first day where, the heat is saying sustained in the Architects for multiple days. We've seen kind of little bits and pieces of heat trying to get in here, but it hasn't been really stuck in here for multiple days at a time. I think we've seen several days with highs into the upper 80s. But highs today, lower 90s, and guess what? That's going to continue on for a long time. Foreseeable future as of right now. I don't really see a massive cool down for you in sight. So drink some water, get in the pool, cool yourself off with some ice cubes. What else can I think of? I need to refresh my memory on some summer tips that I got to keep, spewing out here over the next couple of summer months because it's May, and this is going to be I'm going to be talking about this all the way through September, October. So, starts today pretty much. And granted, I think we'll see a few cool downs eventually coming in. But at least for, again, the foreseeable future, things are looking rather hot all around the Architects. So, let's get into what we're talking about here for the day today. First of all, before I do that, I didn't realize I didn't really introduce myself. For those of you who are just joining for the first time, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason here from KSLA News 12. I do the morning shows, and I do this First Look Weather Breakdown podcast, which is honestly it's the last part of my shift. And for those of you wondering, what the heck, last part of your shift? It's 10:30, Evan. Well, I get here early. The point is, I have fun. I have fun doing this. Even if it's the last part of my shift, I thoroughly enjoy doing this. This is something I look forward to in the last little part of the day because I've told you all this, and I'll tell you this one more time, just multiple times. It's a lot more relaxed. It's a lot more relaxed. Not relaxed in the sense of, like, I don't get to tell you info and don't do my job, but it's more relaxed in that I get to kind of take my time. We're not in a rush to get out and spew out information without forgetting anything. That's the main point. Because honestly, I can only say so much in even a typical main show of a main weather hit and a news show. But here, I can go over pretty much all of the info, all of the graphics. I can take my time and go over everything thoroughly, and be a little weather nerd essentially on here. Anyways, let's get into what we're talking about here for the day today. So we're talking about the hot forecast. Summer's here. We're also talking about rain coming back, although I shouldn't have even let off with that. Today is a nice dry day, believe it or not, which is good for the sunshine to get back out to give us also a much-needed break here in the Architects. That's pretty great and grand as well. So, yeah, enjoying that here. So I'm a little distracted, believe it or not, because I'm trying to check if my YouTube live stream is working. It is working. Beautiful. Okay. For some reason, it was not popping up there for a moment. But anyways, back to what I was talking about. We're talking about hot temperatures. We're talking about a sunshiny day here for the day today. And we're also talking about rain in the future. That's going to be the only real thing to talk about change-wise that's happening here in the forecast is rain will be coming back. We'll be talking about when that's going to happen here coming on up in just a little while. So let's get into the forecast, shall we? Beautiful look out on Window World Skycam in Texarkana. If you remember this time yesterday, certainly good amount of cloud cover around. It's not as much the case here for the day today, is it? In fact, again, not seeing any bits of cloud cover, not only in Texarkana, but you look into Shreveport and Bossier, it's the same thing. We're going to hang around with this fully sunny day just for today. This is pretty much the only day where I'm expecting to not really see any cloud cover. Tomorrow, we introduce back the clouds, but we should stay dry, and eventually we slowly pick up more and more moisture, which eventually leads in turn to rain coming back. We're going to kind of go over the thorough timeline of that coming up here in just a little bit. So our weather headlines here for today. Obviously, the top one is it's hot. Simply stated. Not only is it hot today, though, it's hot over the next several days. Again, next 7 days at least, looking very toasty. Meanwhile, the thing that is changing here in the Arklatex will be the conditions. Again, we're dry here for the next couple of days. First time we've gotten to say that in a few days. It's been rainy ever since Friday, essentially, and that definitely continued into last weekend and into some portions of the Arklatex here yesterday. But today, finally dry for the most part of the next few days. Unfortunately, rain is looking to target your weekend next. We're going to go into that thoroughly again coming up here. Temperatures 77 in Shreveport, 78 for Texarkana, 78 in Natchitoches, and it is just after 10:30. And you're already dealing with these temperatures. Just, Austin Evans usually comes in around 10 a.m., and he was already like, yeah, it's toasty out. I can feel it. It's coming. We're expecting that in the Arklatex here for the day today. Now, for your temperature outlook, I know the colors aren't really this always happens, where the colors on the back side of this graphic don't really match what's happening with the arrows and the word hot there. But anyways, just picture that there's hot temperatures and hot colors behind this outlook, because that's what I've been talking about all morning long, essentially, is that the fact that hot temperatures start here for the day today, and it's going to be something that continues on for the next several days, plural. Monday of next week, we still have hot temperatures we're dealing with. Again, there's no cool down for us in sight. So today is kind of the biggest day of where we let me rephrase that. Today's the biggest day where we look to increase the temperatures the most around here, I think. Besides that, temperature change is actually going to look to be pretty steady here over the next 7 days. Again, we take that big jump up in temperature mainly into today alone. 70 in Texas. It is not 70. 90. If I can clear out my eyeballs. 90 in Texarkana, 89 in Foreman. In Eastern Texas, 90 in Marshall, 90 in Center, 88 in Gilmer. Meanwhile, Northwest Louisiana, 91 in Natchitoches, 89 in Ringgold, 88 in Minden, 91 in Shreveport. This is the first time I'm pulling this out in the first alert weather breakdown this year. This has been in the closet since October of last year. Something like that. I've kept it pretty dormant because we haven't had very muggy conditions during the winter. At least muggy conditions that were really meant something on this graphic, essentially, because most of us were hanging around with comfortable humidity levels. But guess what? It's summertime now, so it's going to be oppressive around here on that muggy meter for the next week or so. It's unfortunately going to get even worse for the weekend, potentially. So that means we got lots of humidity on top of the Arklatex. So not only do we have heat, but we also have humidity. Combine the two together, and you have the feels-like temperatures, which indicate kind of a weight from the humidity, again, on top of the heat, which essentially makes our feels-like temperature even more brutal, even more hot. Highs looking to be in the mid-90s for the feels-like temperatures here for this afternoon, and we continue to increase. It's not just our afternoons as well. It's also our mornings. We just passed by our last morning with temperature in the 60s for quite some time. We woke up to that for this morning and the morning prior to this one as well on Monday. But starting tomorrow morning for the foreseeable future as well, you're waking up to temperatures now in the 70s. So a warm morning now to start off your morning commute out the door here for the start of Wednesday. Guess what? Tomorrow afternoon, it is going to be brutal. This is looking to be definitely the hottest day. I'm so used to saying warm being on winter standards. It's the hottest day of the work week by far here for tomorrow, where it feels like temperatures could easily eclipse 100 degrees in many spots around here before finally cooling off briefly into Thursday morning. So for the feels like temperatures over the next several days, again, Wednesday, most likely the hottest day where we could reach around 100 degrees. We slightly cool off, yes, into Thursday and Friday and Saturday, but cool off is a bit of a overly played term probably because, I mean, it's cooling off by a whopping 5 degrees down to feels like temperatures in the mid-90s still for the rest of the week. So you get the point. It's going to be hot. It's going to stay that way all around the Arklatex here for a while to come. Now, let's get to the skies because, again, this is something that will be changing here over the next several days. So, for today, it's looking to be sunny here for the rest of the day pretty much, which will be good all around the Arklatex. Then you head into tomorrow. I think that's when we'll get a lot more cloud cover into the region. Now, this does not mean it will rain tomorrow. If you look, I mean, not a single raindrop found here on the future track at any part in time here for your Wednesday. But I actually want to back up on Thursday really quick because if you did see Thursday, we introduced a little more cloud cover. And yes, the brief chance of a spotty rain shower. It looks like along the I-30 corridor for Thursday morning. And I believe, yeah, that could even continue into Thursday night as well, anywhere around the Arklatex, even into Friday. So, yeah, Thursday and Friday, kind of just some spotty showers. You saw the rain coverage on the map, though, with the future track. It's not that impressive. Don't worry about it. B, don't be surprised if you get wet on the other side of the equation, though. So, again, most of us stay dry through Friday. So, I'm expecting, again, for the most part, 4 dry days. But then you get into Saturday, and that's when trouble comes back because, as I said, our humidity and our moisture slowly but surely increases more and more, leading into this picture that we have for the weekend with our next round of scattered rain showers, again, hitting us on Saturday here for the weekend. Look, I don't pick the times of when these rain showers show up. I know the past weekend was not great with the rain. And now, unfortunately, this coming weekend, too, not looking to be all that fantastic as well. Now, it's not a for sure certain that's going to happen on Saturday, but as of right now, I'm expecting the next round of scattered storms to most likely occur on, yes, Saturday at this point in time. Excuse me. They can fluctuate a little bit as we get closer to the weekend, but that's what it's looking like as of right now. Look at the heat, though. Again, that remains still highs in the lower 90s trapped in here through both Saturday and Sunday. So this weekend is looking a lot more hot. So T-shirt and shorts. In conclusion, T-shirt, shorts, T-shirt, shorts, T-shirt, and shorts. I just added other things to the arsenal of clothing that you might be wearing here over the next several days. Swimsuits. Take a dip in the pool. I'm actually thinking about I probably will be doing that here for the first time this year later on this week. And sunshades. It's going to be very sunny, especially for today. It gets a little more cloudy for the end of the week, I will say, but especially for today and tomorrow, sunshades needed. Then we get that little cloud cover going here for us on Thursday and Friday. That introduces, yes, a stray chance of a rain shower or two here for both of those days. Then you get into the weekend. Again, scattered showers expected for Saturday. A few lingering showers are still possible on some of the future tracks into Sunday and Monday, and I think our next scattered round of rain looks to come back on Tuesday of next week, too. And that round actually looks to drop the temperatures a little bit. Not a lot at this point. It looks to be a little bit, looks like highs could get down back to the 80s here for most of next work week. But we'll keep you first alert about that because that is way long in the future. For the time being, it's hot. Highs around 91 today. Highs are still at 92 by Monday. The only change of that is essentially tomorrow. Tomorrow's the hottest day out of the next 7. And then it cools, in quotations, because it's certainly not a cool day for Thursday, Friday, or the weekend. But, hey, lots of heat. Trapped here, staying here, stuck here. You get the point. Just got to watch out for the rain, unfortunately, coming back here for this weekend. Yeah. Anyways, all right. We're not done with the first weather breakdown. I'm going to go into a little bit of a monologue here when we come back after a quick commercial break. Just, that only takes 2 minutes, okay? Don't just give me a quick break to get a breather. You've also hearing me coughing a little bit and trying to recover my voice. As I said, I'm going to go into a little bit of a monologue, kind of just focus it on the camera here. We're just going to dive into different types of meteorology for those of you that are interested, just period, about how the weather field works, because there are other, again, meteorologists more than just me. in the weather field period. Believe it or not, I don't push the buttons to control the weather, contrary to maybe some people. Got my eyes on you. Anyways, yeah, you get the point. We'll be talking about how the weather field interacts with one another. I kind of want to introduce kind of different weather positions, different weather careers. If you're interested in going into weather, well, someday, hey, this might be something for you to check out. Because hey, if you're a little camera shy, like I once was, then hey, you don't have to be in front of the camera to be someone who helps out in the weather field. I'll explain everything coming up here in just a little bit. But I do want to give, again, some props to the people behind the scenes who do contribute a good bit to helping out my job and helping out the weather field period. Anyways, I'll see you after this and explain how the weather field works after this. Hey, welcome back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. Thanks for watching KSLA News 12. I want to give a quick shout out on our YouTube page, because guess what? If you respond on our YouTube page and leave a comment, leave a question, that kind of thing, we always look forward to that. And it just shows interaction between me and the viewers. So again, I want to shout out to First Warning Weather. His name is Christian. He says he really enjoys the weather and is a high school student planning to be a TV meteorologist. And thank you for the appreciation on the graphics. He said that to me. So, Christian, first of all, thanks for watching First Alert Weather Breakdown. I always appreciate anybody that we can reach out to, and especially for someone like you who's kind of a excuse me, aspiring to be here someday. You know, just help communicate weather to anybody around. It doesn't even have to be the architects, but just to anybody around, because weather communication is important in this field. And one thing I live for is not just to tell people about their day, how their weather's going, but especially when severe weather arises, to kind of protect people in those moments and be there to assure them, to comfort them, tell them what to do, and to kind of assist those who have been impacted by natural disaster. That's kind of what I'm all about, because it's not fair whenever tornadoes strike or hurricanes hit. It's not fair to anybody. But what is something we can do is always help ourselves, and especially helps our neighbors and community always recover in those instances. And I want to tell you about other sectors of meteorology that help out with that. Some other people besides just myself. Someone sitting in a chair, just talking to a camera for most of the day, essentially. So, yeah. Again, thanks, Christian, Christian. Sorry. Oh my goodness, for watching. I need more coffee. But anyways, I'm here to tell you about different weather positions in case you're interested in them. You want to get into them, or just want to learn about how the weather field interacts with one another. So again, let's just start with me, myself, and I. I'm a TV meteorologist. Hello, you see me on the television usually. I'm kind of I wouldn't say the end of the food chain, but the end of the weather chain. I help mainly show out to the public, especially in more of a public eye, because you see me as a human. I am on camera, just a person, telling you about what to expect here for the day in regards to the outside conditions. But again, there are several other people, as I've mentioned time and time again, that are behind the scenes that help us out. Essentially, National Weather Service is probably one sector that people would obviously point to for people behind the scenes who still work in weather, and that's probably the most noticeable outside of just a TV meteorologist. Obviously, they're the ones working on all the watches and warnings. They are the ones that issue them themselves. So if a tornado warning pops up, they are the ones to issue them. They are at the forefront of watching that weather radar actively, so that us TV meteorologists can understand what the warning's for, where it's coming from, and help convey to the viewers. We help relay their technical information to the viewers to kind of put it in a simplistic form, essentially. So always props out to everybody at NWS. Always working. Thanks. Then there's two other sectors that people don't really realize are sectors, because they're a lot, even more behind the scenes than the other two. There are other people in the weather community that do forecasts, but are in the private sector. And essentially, one of my good friends as well is involved with the private sector of weather. And that doesn't mean that they don't give forecasts out like NWS does, period. But they provide area-specific forecasts. You might ask what that is. Well, the NWS, yes, gives area-specific forecasts, but say an oil tanker or oil, I'm trying to get at, like a oil rig, that's the word I was looking for, needs a forecast. You're not really going to go to NWS especially with, being that remote off-site, usually. Or look at, like a local forecast for your oil rig. There really isn't one. So, essentially, those kind of rigs, those kind of areas, and there's specific companies that will turn to just a specific weather company. It's just a private weather company that essentially gives them their own forecast just for their own specific area. For winds, for rain, for anything. They'll put all the data together. They'll look at everything together. They'll write something out, give a forecast, essentially to that company alone, and that'll be the product that they create. And they do that day in, day out. And that's really cool. Again, that's given to oil tankers, to ships traveling the seas, to airplanes. Airplanes flights obviously utilize weather a lot, and there's weather meteorologists that also help pilots navigate through certain types of storms and certain types of weather. Last thing I want to get to, last little sector, because those are there's four kind of sectors, and as I said, I kind of mentioned three. The last one that people don't really realize is research. I think it's kind of simply stated. Research is people, researching actively what happens in weather and what is ongoing, and kind of looking more at a climatological forecast. And what I mean by that is looking over history. How does the forecast evolve way over time? And how can we make machines that are better equipped to track onto certain weather things, like weather radar? How can we better evolve that? How can we better evolve tracking certain temperatures? How can we better evolve this and that? That involves kind of the research of it all. Looking over numbers, seeing trends, that kind of thing to help give data to what's happening overall over years, usually for the most part, when it comes to tropical storms, when it comes to hurricanes, when it comes to heat, when it comes to wind, when it comes to anything weather-wise, you name it. So they're on the research type of the field. Again, always looking out and gathering plenty of data and staring at that. Usually they'll always be the ones, I wouldn't say always, but usually they'll be the ones also to be in a little more universities, usually, because, universities study, research, you get the point. I was a part of some research projects back in college that were thoroughly enjoyable. I gotta admit, it is not the sector for me. Definitely not. That was probably the least. That's the sector I'd go into the least. Just because I like to look at things that are actively ongoing, which research people do. But I mean, they also just look at things in the past as well, as I've mentioned. But the other thing I'm trying to get around without saying, but I guess I should say this. This involves a lot of coding. Because you got to look over a lot of databases, which are under lots of computer code, and coding is not really my thing. For those of you who took coding computer classes in college and high school, I had to do it as well. I did have to take some preliminary courses for that, but that was still difficult to me at least. Anyways, so yeah, that's how the weather sector works. Do you have any questions? First, YouTube page. But essentially, that's how weather field functions. One area researches to give more data to help our forecasts evolve and become more accurate, because they also measure accuracy in the research field as well. Another sector kind of gives area-specific forecasts, again, specific companies. Then there's the National Weather Service, which is the one making the watches, warnings, which help us TV meteorologists help convey to the public. And our top job is to kind of relay all the data and all of the weather info that the National Weather Service and other weather agencies are seeing and help simplify that, because sometimes it gets a little complicated. Weather is a complicated atmosphere. And I think the best way to sum this all up is if weather wasn't a complicated scenario and a complicated atmosphere, there would be no reason for me to be in front of you here today. Just simply stated, all right? If we could easily understand the weather, anybody could do it. It's a little more complicated than sometimes meets the eye. So, yeah. Anyways, that's it for First Look with a Breakdown. Thanks for listening to me. I know today was just a monologue kind of day, but hey, that's all we're looking forward to with heat. Yeah, heat's going to be building here over the next couple of days. We do have a CJ meteorologist will be hosting Thursday and Friday's episode for tomorrow. I will be hosting tomorrow's episode. We're just going to mainly look into the heat a lot more. I'm going to take a look at some of the records as well. We're nearing record highs for the rest of the work week, believe it or not. So we'll be taking a look and seeing if we can break some of those. We're going to go into kind of the history of the heat, especially here for this week, and look at how close that heat is going to break. If it is going to break the record high, we'll see. Who knows? Anyways, thanks for watching Tuesday's First Look Weather Breakdown. You have a great rest of your day. Stay cool. Drink some water. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow at 10:30 on Wednesday's edition of First Look Weather Breakdown. You be there, be square. And most importantly, stay weather aware. Have a good one. See you tomorrow.